How did we go from this to this?
Hollywood likes you in a certain way. They like you a certain way. They have Hollywood's interesting. They like you a certain way.
Our family separated. It's fine. It's perfect.
Nobody panics.
I introduced the black father to this country, and I risk my job by saying I won't do it unless you give me a husband for my children.
The man staying with his family and raising his kids and pouring into his woman. That's the threat.
Well, then everyone loses their minds.
So you don't like people of color blaming white people for past racial issues. Why do you think they do?
Control their history, control their images. Then you won't have to watch it. Whoever controls the mind will also control the body.
There is an alpha white male in almost every TV show, commercial, ever.
The Black Panthers scared people.
Anytime the black man attempts to change the slave image, he will scare white people.
Let's go to the roots of where I believe this anti-black propaganda started.
History repeats itself, but in such cunning disguise that we never detect the resemblance until the damage is done.
He asked you how far it was from the sun to the moon?
Yeah, that's what the man asked me.
Well, what'd you tell him?
I told him if he was going to give me that route, I didn't want to jump.
Well, tell me. Come on, come on, come on, carry me home. Oh.
Now then, I like those pig feets. I enjoy them, and I want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart for those many, many fine pig footses.
Minstrel shows were created to entertain white audiences by portraying blacks as savages, Jezebels, and uneducated buffoons. To them, black dysfunction was their entertainment, joy, and comfort. They did this because they hated seeing this. Black people with ambition, drive, aspirations, and achievement. Black folks basically refusing to accept their subjugation. After decades of American trauma, guardrailing, and propaganda, has Minstrel Shows' depiction of black people become a self-fulfilling prophecy? How did we go from this to this? How did we go from aspiring to excellence to glorifying degrading behavior? This type of transition doesn't just happen overnight. Whose narrative is being promoted and propagandized to the masses?
We of the Negro race are suffering more than any other race in the world from propaganda. Propaganda is to destroy our hopes, our ambitions, and confidence in self. Propaganda has done more to defeat the good intentions of races and nations than even open warfare.
Let me take a few minutes to break down America's narrative guardrailing and propaganda reinforcement. The main objective when it comes to these white institutions of control and influence is to attack the black family.
Michael Evans and writer Eric Monty began to develop Monty's The Black Family script, but they soon reached a creative impasse.
One note that I got every meeting was, you got to get rid of the father. A strong black man is not funny in a sitcom. And I was in the no, we got to have the father.
The actress agreed to star in The Black Family under one condition: the father had to stay in the script.
I introduced the black father to this country. There never had been one in the whole of the country. And I risk my job by saying I won't do it unless you give me a husband for my children.
Our family separated. It's fine. It's perfect.
Nobody panics. Because it's all part of the plan.
The man staying with his family and raising his kids and pouring into his woman. That's the threat.
Well, then everyone loses their minds.
Who needs blackface when you can simply hire a black person to do the job for you? Are we really in control of the narrative? What do I mean? Is Black America rewarding, promoting, and ultimately reinforcing the behaviors that we want to see? Or is our enemy promoting a narrative that they want to see?
But we do have black people that get on the radio every day in white-owned companies, white-owned stations with white-owned sponsors that play the role of hypersexualized, hypercriminalized male. I ask these advertisers, I say, I've got hundreds of songs a day that celebrate killing animals. Will you put them on your station? They said, no. I got hundreds of songs a day that talk about assaulting women and abusing kids. Would you put them on your station? They said, no. I said, I got hundreds of songs a day that talk about murdering blacks. Would you put them on your stations? And they said, well, that depends. Depends on what? Who it's done by and who it's branded for. Because if we can get black folks to sing about it and we can brand it for our youngest black audiences, I think there's money to be made. I think there's American appetites to see these people that way.
Images control self-esteem. Abraham Lincoln found out very early, when you have 300 slaves on a plantation and one master, it takes a lot of work. Why don't you let them go? But don't teach them who they are. Control their history. Control their images. Then you won't have to watch it. Whoever controls the mind will also control the body.
The modern-day matriarchal subculture that we see in Black America today is not our own. It is the end result of being in proximity to our 400-year-old enemy. The toxic black culture you see here is how our enemy has always envisioned us. It's a modern-day minstrel show. It just took a few centuries, countless destroyed communities, and discriminatory guardrailing for black folks to catch up. Authentic black culture happened when black folks were in complete control of their destiny. It's only when a group owns the theaters, institutions, and the businesses in their community does one control the narrative. Unfortunately, our ability to control the narrative was snuffed out by terrorists, which left us vulnerable to those who controlled all aspects of power and influence.
They had the nerve, the audacity to let black folks suffer for 460 years. And at the end of the civil rights movement, rather than going back and saying, let's find out what has happened to black folk for 460 years, have they been psychologically, emotionally, politically, educationally damaged? Nobody spent 1 minute of time trying to figure out what had happened to black folk over all that period of time. So in the course of the civil rights movement, at the end of it, they say, well, let's pretend that nothing has happened to them, that they were not injured, they were not hurt. And now let's go seek integration and pretend that we're all equal. Now that was grossly unfair, because by that point in time, in about the 1966 period, whites had become economic giants in America. They owned and controlled everything at that point in time. Black folk didn't own anything. Whites controlled almost 100% of all the wealth, the income, the privileges, the businesses, the resources, and all levels of government. Blacks had nothing. Blacks were 1-foot midgets. And they allowed us then to use integration to walk from our communities, from our ghettos over in their communities, totally disarmed, not understanding anything, blind, naked, and then saying that you can go and compete. Compete with what?
America has made it their mission to reward behaviors that they want to see. Every white-owned system of control operates on the same anti-black thinking. Being in this system for so long, even black folks have been conditioned into thinking and acting like white supremacists. It's not hard to believe when you study white America's actions, history, and how the safe spaces that we once created for ourselves were ultimately co-opted or destroyed by the very same white supremacist system. Let me make this crystal clear. Don't expect America to promote you in a good light. They haven't used their media influence and power to promote black nuclear family structures, positive masculine and feminine principles, as well as black folks with morals, self-respect, and dignity. No, they use their media to reinforce broken black families, toxic black relationships, and ultimately, black folks who are unable to challenge their white dominance. There's a certain standard they are trying to maintain. Trust and believe they know how to promote themselves in all aspects of power, influence, and control. They don't deny themselves the positive reinforcement that maintains white families, relationships, and communities.
Well, for blacks and whites, it's completely different. There is an alpha white male in almost every TV show, commercial, ever. Action, movie, there's alpha white males every place. But it's not so for black people. we are relegated to more character. The guys who are like me, all you can hope for is, you know, being Queen Latifah or somebody else's date that day.
Right.
On living single or whatever. That's all the more attractive or alpha males. That's all we could do.
Right.
That's all that was written for us.
Or the prison roles.
I'm the most feared man in Hollywood. They don't like me in Hollywood.
Why do they not like you in Hollywood?
I don't wear dresses. I don't do that gay stuff on TV. You had to get some other black person to do that stuff. I'm talking, that's gutter. But they all confess they love the Lord. But you cannot compromise yourself if you love the Lord. I play tough guys, but young kids want to be soldiers. Young kids don't want to follow a guy to wear a dress. Yeah.
The objectification and degradation of black women is marketing at its finest. These media companies are owned by white executives who spend millions of dollars and countless hours plotting on our culture. The media has used, and yes I say used, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, Suki the Goat, Nicki Minaj, etc. to tell the world that black women are happy being objectified and degraded. There is a solution. Black women need to be on code and no longer stand for this BS. No longer support men's music that objectifies us. We control the numbers. We continue to support their music. We continue to support the black men who make music that are okay with calling black women bees, hoes, and sluts. We continue to support these women who have mainstream influence to teach our future daughters it's okay to degrade yourself for a Birkin. And if you plan on arguing with me, and no offense, but you're 21 to 45 years on Earth, your income level, and 12 years plus of schooling isn't smart enough to outwit a century's worth of strategic marketing since slavery and billions of dollars spent on advertising that these people have done on us.
Hollywood likes you in a certain way. They like you a certain way. They have Hollywood's interesting. They like you a certain way when you're black. You damn near have to be a black Anglo-Saxon. They know the difference. You know what I'm talking about. You worked on jobs. You've seen how white people relate to black people that really kiss their behinds. They'll tell you, oh, I love Jane. I just love it. Why can't you be more like Jane? Because you can't have a black conscience. It's all right to have a white conscience. Things can be too black, but they can never be too white. They can't be white enough.
Right.
Now, you've heard white people go, that's too black. What nerve? But no one says no one goes around saying that's too white.
You scared people, Huey. The Black Panthers scared people.
Anytime the black man attempts to change the slave image, he will scare white people. So the Black Panther Party, I thank you. When you said that we scared people, that means that we were creating a positive black image for ourselves.
Carlton.
Can you see American media's narcissism? To put it simple, they'll diminish other nations' light to make it seem like their nation's light shines brighter. White supremacy thrives off of this insatiable need to outshine the competition. And if they can't do that, they'll guardrail the competition into dysfunction to outshine them by comparison. They know how to promote their masculinity to the masses. They tend to play with the dials when it comes to other groups of men. I'm not even going to go into how they promote themselves with other groups of women versus how they promote us with white women / other lifestyles. This anti-black propaganda goes deep, which begs the question, is it possible to exist with a nation whose radar goes up when you're simply trying to live your best life? Are you comfortable being the integrated token of white American media?
I thank you. When you said that we scared people, that means that we were creating a positive black image for ourselves.
Carlton.
In conclusion, when we look at the history of Black America's pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness, Black empowerment, independence, and achievement equals white fear, anxiety, and animosity. On the opposite side of the coin, Black trauma, subjugation, and disenfranchisement equals white comfort, entertainment, and primacy. Authentic Black communities cannot exist as long as we are in proximity to those who hate our progress.
And one of the things that became clear to me as I started thinking through how white rage works, it became clear to me that the presence of Black people was not the trigger for white rage. There's that stunned, almost what you talking about, Willis? Look. It is the presence of black people with ambition. The presence of black people with drive. The presence of black people with aspirations. The presence of black people who achieve. It's the presence of black people who refuse to accept their subjugation. The presence of black people who demand their rights. That's the trigger for white rage.
Our independence, identity, and narrative have been appropriated by our enemy, and the only way to get it back is...
We do believe in separation, standing on our own feet, among our own kind, and solving our own problems. And that's the only way you'll get a solution to the vital race problem in this country.
As you see, this dysfunction we see out here didn't just manifest overnight. There needs to be context and accountability on all ends. So what does accountability look like? First and foremost, when it comes to American racism and white supremacy, owning the hate that was done in the past and present, and correcting the trauma it manifested. The goal is to... You know what? I won't even waste my breath, because ain't gonna happen on their side. My last segment should have taught you that. So the onus is really on us as a black nation to fix what this country is trying so hard to destroy. Shout out to the white folks who are fighting to replace this white supremacist system with a system of justice. You are appreciated.
So you don't like people of color blaming white people for past racial issues. Okay. My question for you is, why do you think they do? Can you think of any reasons? Because I can think of a lot of reasons, such as imperialism, colonialism, slavery, Jim Crow, segregation, the Trail of Tears and the genocide of Native Americans, the 13th Amendment, mass incarceration, redlining, voter suppression, unequal access to quality housing, medical care, quality food, cultural genocide, internment camps during World War II. I mean, if you really think of our history, yeah, white people are at fault for a lot of things that happened to people of color, things that still have deep effects to this day. I think it's important that we understand our history and own up to it and make a commitment to do better, to not follow the lead of our ancestors, to denounce and dismantle white supremacy. We can't dismantle white supremacy until we acknowledge that it exists. You can't slay a dragon without first acknowledging that there is a dragon. You can't cure a disease without it first diagnosing it. And our country's diagnosis is a long history of white supremacy, genocide, slavery, discrimination. We must acknowledge that. If we don't, we are ignoring our own history and are just bound to repeat it.
What does accountability look like for black folks? First, understanding our history, how we got to this current state, and then making an effort to change for our own best interest.
We should own and operate and control the economy of our community. You would never find, you can't open up a black store in a white community. White man won't even patronize you. And he's not wrong. He got sense enough to look out for himself. And you who don't have sense enough to look out for yourself.
This man fought for rights. This man fought for freedom. Both of these things are good, but there's an important distinction between having rights and having freedom. Freedom is when you make your own laws. You govern your own people for the benefit of your own people. Rights are things that you ask for people who control you already. If you have to ask someone for rights, then you don't have freedom from them. Just put yourself in the shoes of the African diaspora in North America after emancipation. What makes more sense to you? You've suffered for centuries under your oppressors, and you want freedom from them to decide the fate of your own people? Or you've suffered for centuries under your oppressors, and you trust them to write laws that are fair for your people? Would it make sense for you as a group of people to send your children to fight for the nation of people that just enslaved? Would it make sense for you to build their economic power? Or would it make more sense to deny the labor of your people to the same group of people who have profited from it for centuries? Why would you build for your enemies instead of your own people?
As long as we are deflecting accountability, evading shame, and making endless excuses to maintain the current status quo, we'll continue to allow the shackles of mental and cultural colonialism consume us.
That dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare.
Once you change your philosophy, you change your thought pattern. Once you change your thought pattern, you change your attitude. Once you change your attitude, it changes your behavior pattern. And then you go on into some action.
In my opinion, the black nation has two main issues: white supremacy and the matriarchal subculture white supremacy created and is reinforcing. We didn't destroy our own self-sufficient towns, redline ourselves into the ghetto, put crack and weapons into those communities, and then glorify the degenerate behavior through mass media. America did. These private white-owned prisons and institutions have monetized our nation's struggle for their benefit. As I stated earlier, you can ignore reality, but you cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. The time to solve the problem is not when the issue comes knocking at your door, or in this case, when your children are imitating and emulating a subculture that only leads to death and destruction.
I was capping, I was lacking, cause they do the yelling, I was cracking. I'm like, what? I'm like, nigga, who? I was born to shoot, I got aim. I'm like Johnny Dane, when it come to chase. So
we outside tonight. We outside tonight. These niggas trying to sign me for $1,000. Now, man, I got $1,000. What y'all niggas talking about? I got it, nigga. I'm voting them, nigga. I come slide on y'all block with the Glock out. Hold 16 shots, boy. Hit 16 niggas at the same time. And he came with some hollow, boy.
What's your song?
I'm at time, took my red.
Ooh.
Took out my red light. No.
Go ahead.
You trying to see me, you trying to see me, you trying to say what's up.
Let's go.
Downtown, going downtown.
Ooh. All right. Just say it, girl. Ooh. 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 That's how you know.
The time to solve the problem starts now. If we can already anticipate the destructive path that many children are headed down from single mother-led homes, then prevention should be paramount, and the media should be aiding in that prevention, not reinforcing its toxic manifestation. Why? Because these anti-black private prisons already know if your children will be a future inmate based on their 3rd grade reading levels. And guess whose reading level is at the lowest in the nation?
The government makes decisions on how many prisons to build based upon 3rd grade data. How many kids can read by 3rd grade and how many kids are truant after middle school. You're saying eccentric, energetic boys are going to be felons. That's literally what happens. That trajectory starts in 3rd grade. And if your son can't read and is in trouble, they're forecasting that there's going to be a cell for him and they're going to monetize it. What school districts are they using this data on? Are they using them in the suburbs? Are they doing it in Highland Park? Are they doing it in San Ramon? Or are they doing it in South Dallas? Are they doing it in East Oakland, right? Like, they're going into the neighborhoods of the hardworking middle class community and they're using this as a catalyst to make money. To say, hey man, this is a profitable business for me to the detriment of your family. Welcome to America.
From childhood to adulthood, society sees you, Black America, as public enemy number 1. It's the end result of centuries of hate, fear, and this nation's never-ending anti-black pathology, which I'll address in my final Real Talk TV video. America has a plan for our children, and it's not a good one.
Take a look at these 4 kids. These preschool teachers watched a video of them playing for a 2016 study. The study asked them to press the enter key every time they saw a behavior that could become a potential challenge. But the thing about the study is it's kind of deceptive. There's actually no misbehavior in the video. The kids are actors, and the researchers were using eye tracking software because what they really wanted to know was when teachers expect misbehavior, who are they watching? The study found that both white and black teachers spent more time gazing at black boys than other children. Black boys make up less than a quarter of the nation's preschoolers, but more than 40% of preschool suspensions. The study's lead researcher told the Washington Post that implicit biases don't begin with black men and police. They begin with black preschoolers and their teachers, if not earlier.
The odds are stacked against us here in Babylon, and we need to be vigilant and conscious to the devil's schemes, both past and present. So what are we, the black nation living in America, going to do about it? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm getting my black out of here as soon as possible. Y'all can keep these property taxes, toxic food, and racism. I'm good. For those who decide to stay, well, most will have to come to grips with reality. Our black nation narrative has been sabotaged and flipped on its head. Behaviors that's counterproductive towards black patriarchal households has been normalized. These matriarchal homes and the generational traumas they produce are being monetized to empower private prisons. And the media is in the background social engineering the entire minstrel narrative. This is our opposition's narrative we are living in, not ours. We are at war mentally, spiritually, psychologically, and economically. Especially our black boys. Our future protectors are being snuffed out before they even know it. Their counterparts and future generations will pay the price navigating this world without a covering. Aren't you tired of this white supremacist exploitation, manipulation, and guardrailing? Aren't you tired of America's bull? The black nuclear family unit must be restored so we can rebuild what America destroyed.
No, he would illustrate it this way. Is the sheep preaching hate when he says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore? If the wolf comes in here, next time he comes in here, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep him off my back. Is the sheep violent or is the wolf the violent one? He wasn't teaching hate, he was teaching common sense. You know, somebody's knocking you over the head, stop them. Do whatever you have to do to stop them. You know, the ones that were knocking him over the head were afraid of the fact that he might swing back, so they said, no, he's teaching hate, he's violent.
We do believe in separation, standing on our own feet, among our own kind, and solving our own problems. And that's the only way you'll get a solution to the vital race problem in this country.
New Real Talk TV season coming soon. No more long-form episodes. For 2025, we're only creating animated shorts. It's time to let the art speak for itself. Let's see where this goes.
This so-called community deserves a better class of activism. Do not expect white media to ever create positive black images.
I've had enough. So beautiful.
The blueprint to a successful relationship starts with it's time that we get off the treadmill of consumerism.
98% of all our money.
When he says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore.
That hood nigga put his hands on me for the last time. It's stepdaddy season, girls.
I love me a fucking hood ass nigga.
You stupid.
The only solution is separation.
I'm proud of it.
You want society to accept you, but you can't even accept yourself.
I'm black and beautiful.
Perfection. I'll do whatever I have to do to keep him off my back. Somebody's knocking you over the head, stop him.
Training is over. Let's get to work.
Let's see if I can get it. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you enjoy my content and want to see more, there's many ways to support the channel. Check out the online store, check out the comic books, or you can make a donation or become a patron. Thanks for watching.